everybody, it's Melinda here. Welcome. So today's focus, our first art party that I hope to start doing more of. Today is just a little explore with color and line. And I've got some small examples here. So this is one from a while back. You can see it. There we go. I had a little glare happening. And we're really just going to play and a little bit of slow painting. This is one I did today where I was adding color into it. Once again, huge glare. Where can we go here? There we go. So just to give you an idea, it's a very non-stressful, like you don't have to know how to paint. You don't have to be like, I'm so not creative. The whole point of these exercises is to really combine the ideas from yoga. So our meditation, our kind of thoughtfulness, grounding, and putting it into something creative. And so a lot of these are not gonna, they don't really require skill, but it's hopefully making art fun. And if you have skill, great. Hopefully it's making your art a little bit less, what's the word? Like the fear of creating isn't there, which is the whole point. So if you're joining me live or on the replay, I invite you to cut up some papers if you haven't already. So take a minute now, cut them up, even if you just have scissors on you. I have a paper cutter I use, which is so handy. Little rectangle squares, all different sizes. You can even make them all the same size. They can be 2-inch squares. So whatever you want to do, but just small. So when we keep it small, we can explore ideas and themes and not really get the stress of creating something large. So that's one thing I really, really encourage you to do is keep it small. Okay. So before we get started painting, and I'm going to use watercolors today. If you have acrylics, that's fine. A couple different brush sizes. I grabbed mostly small brushes just because I have small papers. So I have like 1, 2, 3, even a 0, and I think I've grabbed a 6, but I don't think I'm going to use the 6. If you don't even know what size brush it is, just look at the tip, pick something small. And let's start before we really get into our art practice. So this is something I'm gonna try and do every week, and you'll have to forgive me as I back up here. But let's just do a little bit of stretching. Hopefully you can hear me way back there, since I'm pretty far from the camera, but just let's kind of sigh it out, get a little bit of movement in our body, just for a few minutes, a little bit of grounding and meditation, and that'll just set up for the next, 45 minutes or so, however long we decide to paint today. So let's come to Tadasana, mountain pose. Feet are about hip width distance apart. And if you're sitting, go ahead and stand up. Now's a good time to stand up. I feel like we sit so much during the day. Feet are parallel. You can have a little bend in your knees if that feels more comfortable. If you feel like your pelvis is tilting back like this way, go ahead and draw it forward just slightly. And a little bend in the knees. Let's do a few shoulder rolls back. And forward. Slow opening postures to counteract all the sitting we do during the day. Inhale, lift the arms up, gaze lifts. Exhale, release the hands, side out, press down. Make this a slow movement. Inhale, arms extend up. Exhale, side out. Again. Maybe a little back bend this time, maybe. Be mindful of your low back. Just really slowly stretching down. And take those shoulder rolls again. And the other direction. I always like to close my eyes. You're going to see me doing this all the time. Let's step our feet slightly wide. And we're going to just twist it out. So I'm going to step up here. Hopefully you guys can see me. You're going to begin to twist, coming up onto the ball of like your left foot, twisting to the right, and then the opposite direction. And we're just going to let our arms swing. Just begin to twist side to side. You might get a few nice cracks in your spine. Just be careful not to jam your neck one way or the other. Just gentle, easy twist. Give us some energy in the body. Oh good, we're going to have the dog go crazy on us today. And then let's just shake it out. So start to shake. And in all directions. That's Wheezy. She's not helping our yoga time. She probably saw a squirrel in the backyard. That's my guess. You guys might have to forgive me. I think she's going to have to go up. But just shake it all out. Your feet on the ground. You can even lift your heels a little. Just, oh, yeah. Let your shoulders shake. Let your neck relax. You'll feel all that tension and stress you hold in your neck. It might just go away. Rock your head side to side. Even do some full circles if that feels okay. Or just kind of back and forth. And hips side to side. And then let's come to a place of stillness. Ground down through the feet. Feel all the energy, prana, moving through your body. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Exhale, side out. And let your breath be natural. Gently blink your eyes open. Last little bit of stretching. Inhale, arms lift. Bracelet your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lengthen. Ground down through your left foot. And exhale, crescent over to your right. Really pulling on this wrist, lengthening all the way from your wrist down through the heel of your left foot. Nice stretch through the whole side of your body, ribs. Inhale, come back to center, switch the grip. Ground down through your right foot, lengthen. Left hand gives a little gentle pull on your right wrist. Crescent over, grounding down. How long can you be? And forgive me guys, I'm gonna have to go let the dog out. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, release. And just little neck circles for just a minute, both directions. And give your shoulders a roll. Let's come to seated. And let's do a little meditation. Just before we get started, a brief meditation. If you're in your chair, ground down through your sits bones. Place your feet directly under your knees. Begin to lengthen your spine. Inhale, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back. Exhale, lower your shoulders, knit your low ribs in. And if it's comfortable for you, draw your eyes to a close. Just begin to let your breath soften. Notice how you're feeling in your body in this moment. Let the space between your eyebrows relax and release. Let your jaw unhinge slightly. Tongue rests easy in your mouth. So today's theme of letting go is very similar to what we talked about on Wednesday. If you were here for my yoga practice, and if you weren't, it's still up on Facebook if you'd like to go back and practice with me. The idea of letting go of the outcome and enjoying the present moment and the experience in the moment. And this is especially true for those of us creating art. Becoming present in the moment is so much more important than what we create. And as artists and creative people, we often don't allow that room and that space to create. So I invite you today as an intention for your art to let go of the outcome of your creation. Welcome in new possibilities, new exploration, and enjoy the process. Inhale deeply through your nose, letting your breath fill up from the crown of your head all the way down through the central column of your body into your tailbone. And exhale, the breath travels from your tailbone all the way through the crown of your head. Let's take one deep breath together, letting go of anything we might be holding on to for this next 45 minutes or so. Inhale deeply through the nose. Let your belly, your ribs, your chest expand with air. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. And gently draw your chin to your chest. Blink your eyes open. And lift your gaze. All right, let's get set up to paint. So if you're not set up, grab your stuff, move over to where you need to be, get your papers, paints. I'm gonna let the dogs in again. This is gonna be, like I said, theme for the class. So one moment. I'm gonna start with, let's see, I have a number 2 brush here. And the idea of our drawing today is just to take it nice and slow and experiment with the quality of line and the color. All right, so this is the beauty of live. Things are not necessarily working out. All right, so when we paint, I invite you to just dip your brush in the paint and just think about going as slow as you can and making your painting sort of like a meditation. So, you know, gently holding your brush. You can explore with the amount of pressure on your brush. You can explore with direction of line. And we're just going to begin to make some marks. And I'm going to start with just one color, but you can use any color you like. And we're going to just start exploring. So nice and slow, not forgetting to breathe. And kind of look at where your marks are going as you place them on the page. And you might want to explore even like how wet your brush is, or maybe your line disconnects because they're going so lightly. And just begin to let it travel. And I like to kind of, I don't know, let it run off the page. So I put a paper towel underneath, as you can see. And then maybe you'll stop and turn it. See that I'm off the page. All right. And you can let your lines intersect. Maybe they come really close to one another. And then maybe like you don't dip in the paint every time. So I'm going to just do water on this next one and just see how this looks on my page. And your lines might be completely different quality. But remember, this is all about slowing down and then maybe, okay, I don't want to overdo it, so I like to kind of step back and look at what I've done. All right, maybe that's it for this one. So I'm going to switch out to the next. You kind of keep going with the same color. You can explore with color. I'm going to grab a different brush this time. I'm going to go with a 0. Maybe I'll start with green. But I'm going to do the same process of slow drawing. So maybe I'm going to start up here and begin to slowly let it come down the page. Making sure that you're staying with your breath as you go. And allowing the line to kind of take its own shape. I do want to say this particular project is from Amy Miracle, Mindful Art Studio. I need to make sure I'm giving her credit. I did this one several months ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but I really enjoyed it. So I am using her genius ideas for this. And maybe begin to let lines intersect. Or maybe one doesn't even go all the way to the edge. And just start to look at it as a whole composition. When you say composition in art, it's just like writing. It's your whole project. And if it looks really terrible, like I don't really love that line. It's kind of heavy. I was playing with it. Doesn't matter. Because we're going to just keep going. So we can do as many or as few of these as we like. Here I've just added some water. And you can see how the difference in just adding the water has changed the quality and the color. And you can really start to get some nice effects. And maybe your line starts to wander. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm actually going to go back over here. And maybe I do this and I'm like, oh my God, that looks so stupid. It doesn't matter. Because honestly, this is all about experimentation. And the fun part of experimenting with small things like this is you can begin to see what you like, what you don't like. All right, I really hate this line. But maybe tomorrow I'll come back to it and be like, oh, I could do something really cool with that. So let's keep going. I'm gonna grab my next piece of paper and I'm gonna run out of room as I go. And the other cool thing is, like, when I'm done, maybe I'm like, oh, I hate that line, but I'm just gonna cut that off and I still have something cool. All right, I'm gonna get a little square here. And I thank you guys, everyone. I see a few friends joining me live, and some people I don't know, so I think that's awesome. I really appreciate you guys joining. I'm gonna grab a different color and we'll go back to a number 1 brush. Actually, I don't think I've used number 1 yet. So. And then just begin to paint. And if you guys have comments as you're going, like, please drop them in there. Or if you think someone might enjoy this, like, send them a little message. Say, oh, I have something really fun that you're gonna like. So my goal is to do these every Friday. I do have some things coming up in the not next week, but the week after. So we might miss a week here and there, but I will keep posting on the events page every time we have them. Or if it's canceled, I'll put it in the posts. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Melinda, and I am owner of my recent business launch, Creative Souls Art and Yoga. And the idea is yoga is much more than just our physical practice, but it's really how we live our lives. It's being mindful, and personally, I'm all about self-care, and to me, art practice is self-care. And it is so easy to not do it. Like, I'm an artist and I don't do it all the time. So taking an hour out of my week to create with you guys is more self-therapy. So maybe it's a little bit selfish. I hope it helps people, but like, it's amazing how much better I'll feel after just an hour of mindful painting and not feeling stressed. So, I do pet portraits, but maybe like not feeling like it has to be perfect because they're super realistic. And as much as I like to do them, I really like the idea of doing these low stress things. You can see I'm sort of starting to like mimic some of my lines. So I'm just playing and I'm slowing down, and the slower you go, the better in terms of the exploration. So you'll notice if you do one really fast, the quality of that line is like. And so I'll do one here in a minute. I'm totally kind of digging this. So let's see, I'm gonna rotate it and look at it from a different angle. It's kind of fun, I don't know. It's got some good qualities to it. I kind of like some of these intersections. Maybe I'll just do one more line over here. Notice I'm just staying with one color on each one, but maybe we'll switch over and do multiple colors. And each piece has a different energy to it. All right, so I'm gonna set this one aside and grab another piece of paper. All right, here's a long, skinny piece of paper I got. Let's see if I can fit this in here. Yeah, kind of, sort of. the biggest challenge about doing this stuff is trying to fit it in the camera frame. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do blue-green. I don't know if Jessica's still watching, but Jessica, your favorite color? My favorite color? Jessica is my oldest stepson's girlfriend. Let's see. And she's amazing, I should say. We love her very much. All right. So let's go ahead and draw this. This is kind of fun with these long ones because I might rotate it, but this is kind of crazy and fun to do it the opposite way. Going bottom to top. Nice and slow. And I really like to hold my brush loose. There's just a nice quality that comes through. It's almost like the quality of your handwriting in some ways. It's got similar characteristics. Let's see. Let me do a little intersection here. And then I'm going to do a really light one. So I'm going to add some water to my brush, give a little dab. Let's just see how this goes. Still breathing. This one's kind of got some broken qualities to it, but I actually really like this. It's like fading out. Colors fading out. You can even go out and like come back in. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. So it almost looks like it ran off the page and came back. I see Chanda was watching, so that's amazing. And Daniel, Buddy Boy. Sorry if I don't know you, and I do know you. I'm happy you're watching, even if I don't know you. Thank you for joining me today. And thank you, friends that are my friends that are just watching. Amazing. I love the support. All right, I'm going to grab kind of a green color. And you can always mix your paints, of course, but you know, maybe this one, it's going to be like the rogue color. So I've kind of got this like, I don't even know. It's funny, the more lines I put in it, it feels like it looks a little bit more like wild, like fire. Kind of like it. You know, when we finish these, we're going to end up with all these little pieces of paper, and you can do a lot with this later. You can put it in your journal. You can collage with it. This could be a bookmark. Maybe I'll write some words on it. So you can really create after the creation. All right, I'm going to do one more color. I'm going to do yellow-green just to kind of give it this ombre color effect. Analogous color. I guess not ombre, but analogous colors. I mean, they're sitting next to each other on the color wheel. Ooh, he's very yellow, isn't he? I don't know if I like that color. I'll do a little bit there, and maybe I'll just do one like right here. And I like stepping back, kind of looking at it. Yeah, add some down here. All right, that's kind of fun. All right, I'm kind of digging it. I'm gonna go to the next one. And I might look at these tomorrow and be like, oh my God, that is so ugly. But that's the best part about this whole thing. I think. If I make something ugly, I don't care because I made 15 of them. And if I made something cool, it might develop into something even cooler and larger and same concept. All right, I'm gonna keep playing with color here. I'm gonna grab a different color. I still have a little teeny tiny brush. I'm gonna go a little bit larger. I'm gonna go number 4 brush just to see what it does. And if you want, I don't know if I can do this because the camera's here, but you could use your opposite, your non-dominant hand. And that's a really fun way to just kind of start to play. And those of you that are watching, even if you're not participating with me, which I hope you are, but if you're not, and you know someone that would really enjoy this, please let them know about my Facebook page, website, etc. I'm really doing these as a community offering and because I'm a new business and I love it, quite honestly. It's really fun and enjoyable. I'm going to play with pressure, so maybe I push down really hard here. Notice how slow I'm going. And I press down, look at the quality of my line. Color, oh, that's fun. I'm going to do a few like this. And maybe I can do some with different size brushes. You kind of play with that, the pressure. You can get a really good feel for that brush, and you can get some really nice smooth qualities of line, almost like a calligraphy pen. And maybe it goes to nothing and just sort of trails off. Oh, fun. All right, this brush is pretty big. I'm gonna go back down to a smaller brush. Find my number 2 brush. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the numbers on the brushes, paint brushes have these numbers on them. Number 2. The smaller the number, the smaller the brush. And then there's different shapes. So you can have flat. I like round personally. There's filbert, which is sort of that flat brush with a rounded tip. But, you know, you can play with all of them. So if you have a small flat brush you're using today, great. Give it a try and see what happens. All right, I'm going to incorporate some additional colors in here. I might even go on top of my other line. Let's see what happens. I'm going to play with the pressure. That's kind of fun, actually. I like this effect of the 2 colors together. So I'm going to do a few more like that. If you guys have any comments or feedback for how your drawing is coming, please post it in the chat. I would love to hear your comments. It's so much fun, and this is like, you experiment however you want. So you can follow what I'm doing, or you can completely disregard what I'm doing. The one thing I really want you to take from this is the idea of experimentation and slowing down. So I think a lot of people tend to rush when they're creating art, and then they're like, oh, this looks terrible. But I promise you, if you begin to slow down, you will see some improvement in the quality of your line. And being able to play with the colors and the pressure and all that. All right, we're getting a little crazy here. All right, I think I'm done with this one. I don't love it, but there's some good qualities to it. I like the play of the colors together, so maybe I'll try that again. Using the same colors. I didn't love the fat brush, so I'm gonna stick with the smaller one. And yeah, let's try the next one. And I'm gonna start rotating my paper too. And sometimes you can just do like 1 or 2 lines and you're like, oh, that looks so cool. Maybe this one's going to be a little more gentle curve. You can see how slow I'm going. I'm going to rotate this now. I'm going to kind of begin to mirror, but then maybe I'll try and branch off. Interesting, huh? Let's see what we got. Now this time I'm going to add a little bit of this color. The cool thing about watercolors is I can really just dab this color in the already wet part, and it'll just kind of disperse, so it can make some really fun things happen. And I kind of like this overlap where I can play with the colors together. I don't know. Interesting. Just rotate this again. And I definitely like to pause and kind of step back, and it's always good to like look up, so look out the window if you have a window by you. Refocus your eyes and then bring your eyes back on the paper. Especially if you're doing really tiny line work. This is a little more relaxed, so it's not as bad, but I'm gonna try one more over here, and I've got a lot more color on my brush this time, so a lot of this red color. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the pink on top, fuchsia, if you will, I guess. And just begin to play. And that one we kind of lost our fuchsia in the mix, but that's all right. Maybe I'll do a nice small line next to it. Kind of like that play with the smooth line and then the not so smooth line next to it. All right, I kind of feeling like maybe I'm done, but I think I'm gonna do kind of this rogue line here. It comes up and goes back down. Yeah, not loving that one. Too many twists. You know what's always so funny is though, like, I'll make something, oh, I hate that. And somebody else will be like, oh, I love that one. So that's the beauty of art. So subjective. And it means something different to each viewer. Let's see, do I want any more? Nah, moving on. Okay, next paper. And I want to end up with a ton of these, so we'll go for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 more minutes. And I think 45 minutes of these is good, but I would love your feedback if you like less time, more time. I spend more time on the stretching and the yoga, I don't know. Knowing me, every week will be different because that's how I am. Let's do some green. And you could also do, didn't think about this, but we could have done like a watercolor wash, a background, let it dry, and then done the line on top of it after it dried. That could be really fun. We could, oh, actually, let's do this. I'm gonna wet the whole page with just water. This will be an experiment. Let me get a little piece of paper this time. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Bumping the camera. All right, little piece of paper. And I'm just gonna wet the whole background and like, let's put some paint down and you'll see it disperse so your lines will get a whole different quality. And it'll just kind of an experiment, fun. And you might like, oh my God, this is never gonna work, but it's fun to try new things, especially with watercolors. If you're using acrylics, this won't be so simple, but you're welcome to paint yourself a lovely background and let it dry and come back to it. All right, so I had the green. I'm gonna go back to my green color. Let's just put some paint down and see what it does. Ooh. You can see your line is, gosh, that can be really beautiful. Oh, I love that. I love how it disperses. I'm gonna use another color. And again, I'm gonna stick with analogous colors just because they'll blend nicely. And even some of these where you're playing with line and color and technique, you can use later as a background. So maybe you're like, this is cool, but I don't think it's finished. And you can come back in after it's dry and use some ink. It's really kind of fun, actually. Really play with the amount of water on your brush. And then the longer it sits, the less water that's on your page, so it won't disperse as much. I don't like that line nearly as much. I love that first line. That was really cool. So maybe my next one I try to recreate something with that. I do like when they intersect. So I'm just going to add some water here. Let's see. This is just my experimental page. Oh, I like that. I like the subtle qualities that you can get in like little, you probably can't even see it from here, little tiny bursts of color that come in. Feeling a little unbalanced. I'm going to add a little more of this blue-green color. There it goes. Maybe that one branches out so it kind of overlaps in one spot. It's going to intersect up here. Huh. All right. It's kind of fun. I'm going to set it aside, grab another piece. I'm running out of room. Okay. This time, I think I'm going to do that wet and wet again, but I'm going to add even more water. So I'm going to grab my really big round brush. I'm going to wet the whole thing. All right. And now I'm going to grab a 0, just for fun. What colors do I want to use? I don't know. You guys have any thoughts? Pop it in the comments. We haven't done orange or yellow yet. Let's just see what happens. We'll do a little orange. And breathe. Oh, I love that. Now that's an ombre effect. It goes from the dark to the light. And I think I'm going to try and do less. Some of mine feel very overworked. I have a really good habit of overworking things. So if you are a creative person, an artist, finding the restraint is like half the battle, right? Nice and slow. One more line somewhere. Let's see. Where shall we do the last line? I think I'm going to start these together and then let it branch off. Oh, maybe that'll be my next one. Oh. I'm going to add a couple little branches. Maybe. Ooh. All right, that's my next one. I'm going to work with branches. All right, I'm going to get another piece of paper, set this one aside, and let my dog in because she's barking at the door. One moment. All right, I'm back. That's the trouble when you have dogs and no one else is home. The dogs don't care that I'm on Facebook filming and going live. They care that they get to go out and chase the squirrels and everything else. So. All right, let's try yellow. And I'm going to play with some branch effects. Ooh, you know what? Maybe I'm going to do, just to make it a little more earthy, I have this kind of yellow ochre color. So I'm going to try something with that. It's sort of brownish, so it might, I don't know, we'll see how it comes out. But I think it could be pretty. It's sort of a goldish yellow ochre. Especially if I want it to look sort of like twigs. It's funny how these lines, and all they are is lines, but they start to take on their own identity. They might look like branches, veining, marble. It's really interesting how, make this one branch out, how they can evolve. And that one I'm not going to run off. I'm going to leave that one and then I'm going to branch out here. And maybe another branch. If I decide I don't like this one, yeah, no, that doesn't matter. Let me play with a branch here. I really like the quality of as I get less and less color. So I've only dipped it in paint once so far. And then I'm adding a little water to it as I go. It's getting lighter and lighter. So that's kind of a really cool effect. Especially with the branches. I'm going to add another little branch over here. It's starting to kind of look like a tree-ish. But maybe this next one I'm going to just do like, I don't know, I feel like it needs something else. Maybe it comes in. Ooh, something different, right? It's kind of fun. All right. I still have only dipped my paint once, so this is really maybe my favorite part. I'm going to branch out and then intersect again. And come all the way back up, get really close, and run off. You can see as you just begin to experiment, put cool techniques, and then, you know, I start to think about, all right, what do I like out of this? What do I not like out of this? And if I ever decided to do a larger scale picture, painting, you could get some really neat ideas from whatever you're doing. So even though maybe this whole thing isn't that great, but I like this particular quality of line, I can experiment with that technique. And you know, today I'm doing mine very slow and simple and kind of across the whole page, but you can really get unusual and creative with your lines. All right, I'm going to do another one. I'm totally out of room, so hopefully some of these are dry. I'm going to stack. I think the next one I'm going to try kind of doing repetitions of lines. So let's do my yellow-green, just because I haven't done much in yellow-green. And you know, maybe if you don't want to play with color today, you're just like all purple, like I did my first round, or purple and blue. Oh, I haven't done blue yet. I kind of did blue. That's fine. Like keeping it consistent and then playing with just the line is an amazing idea. All right, so maybe this one I'm going to kind of. Ooh, I like that water droplet that just fell. It's really hard to talk and paint, so I'm quiet for a minute. I know why. And let's see. So maybe this one I'm going to try and mimic my shape to some degree, but I'm still being really loose. So my grip is really light. You can have a stronger grip and you can play with your grip. But there's something nice about this sort of repetitive quality as well. So this next one I'm going to start the same and then, let's see, maybe I'll branch off. I don't know. Yeah, this one I'm going to keep. Ooh, digging that. All right, so now I'm going to rotate it. Whoops, I just accidentally marked across there. Well, let's do something with that then. There are no mistakes, right? I'm going to go right through that drip. And we'll let it run off. Get a little more paint. I love doing this with watercolors just because I can play with the water a little bit more. If you have high flow acrylics, you can use those. They're not quite as easy to control, but they have a really nice quality on their own. And I have them. I don't use them that much. That's just me. Some people absolutely love them. I'm kind of digging what's happening here. I'm going to let this one come back on. And then maybe I'll do another one parallel or similar to parallel. And then, you know, I always like to stop and step back and see where do I need another line. Let's do one more over here. We're going to let it run off and come back on just like the other side. And then maybe we'll intersect. And run right back off. Sometimes these compositions maybe don't come out the best, but it's worth experimenting with. And I always like to kind of set them aside and look at them like a week later or a couple days later and be like, oh, this one was way cooler. I didn't realize it was so cool. I feel like I need some more something. I don't know what. I'll rotate this. That might help me come up with something. All right. So if you are joining me, I would absolutely love to see what you've created today. You can post it. That we have a group, Creative Souls Art and Yoga private Facebook group. Just has a couple questions, nothing major to get into the group, but it's really a great forum, and I'm trying to get more people to post in there. And I feel like those of us that have done some creations, it's a great way to get some community involvement. It's so much more fun to be in Facebook groups when other people besides me are posting. And I do have a few comments, few people that have come to my yoga classes or friends that will post, so much appreciated. But I would love to hear from everybody, really be part of the group. It's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like I need another line, and I'm probably going to overdo it, but this is bothering me through here. Maybe I need to just step back. All right, we're going to do one more. And it might be like, oh, that was a terrible idea. Why did I do that? But you don't experiment, you don't know. Yeah, I hate that. But I hate it right now. I might not hate it tomorrow. Or I might be like, oh, let's go back in and add something. Okay, I'm going to add more. I'm going to rotate it and add some more. All right, this is going to be my last one. My last paper. So if you are joining me today, please drop me a comment. If you were able to paint, I would love it. If you know someone that enjoys this type of painting or just art in general, especially if you're an artist. Honestly, if you're not an artist too, because people get stressed over art no matter what. And it should be fun. All right, I don't hate it so much anymore. All right, well, I appreciate everyone that was here joining me live today. I don't see any comments coming through, so if there are comments, please let me, please, do I have any? Nope, just some people that are here watching. So thank you guys that are here watching live. Please like this post if you like it, share it, send feedback. You know, this is kind of my first live art party for almost an hour. And of course it's a trial and error. And you know, all classes are free. If you want to donate, I do have Venmo. It's at Melinda-Van Kirk, or PayPal is Creative Souls Art and Yoga. And thank you all for joining today, and namaste.